Asexual reproduction is the formation of new cells from a parent plant. Binary fission is a form of asexual reproduction. This process occurs every time a single-celled organism undergoes mitosis. This is where it creates two new organisms. Budding is another example of asexual reproduction within Australian flora. This is where the parent produces a replica of itself by mitosis. This replica continues to grow as a new organism but is still attached to its parent. Another form of asexual reproduction in Australian flora is regeneration. This is where organisms grow back body parts that have been removed or lost. Seed dispersal is when seeds from the parent plant spread away, and if the seeds are covering a widespread area, more species are more likely to survive dangers including fire, disease, or environmental change. Wind dispersal is when seeds are aerodynamically carried long distances and is often considered the most effective form of seed dispersal. Feather spear grass relies on the wind for seed dispersal. The seeds attach to fine hairs which float through the air. As they are light in weight, the wind is able to carry the blades further distances, hundreds of kilometers away from their parent plant. Water is another form of seed dispersal. This is where seeds are carried short or long distances away from the parent plant across rivers or seas. If the parent plant dies, the capsules open and the seeds are released. As callosomes grow along the water, the seeds float away from the straight parent plant. After a fire destroys the plant, this makes area for new seeds to grow. An example of this is with the eucalyptus tree. When there is a fire, the seeds are released and taken by wind so that they may flourish in a new and safe environment. Animals also play an important role in the dispersal of seeds. When animals eat fruit, the seeds will then be dispersed when they spit them out or they excrete them. Seeds may also have special structures that can hook onto the fur of animals and taken to a new location. The final form of seed dispersal is explosion dispersal. Seeds are found in pods, and when these pods start to dry out, the seeds are fired as such from the plant in all different directions. Pollination is the transfer of pollen onto the stigma of a plant. The male reproductive organ is called the stamen, made up of the anther and filament. The female reproductive organ, on the other hand, is made up of many carpels, and each of these is made up of an ovary, stigma, and style. The reproductive organ is called the pistil. Self-pollination occurs when pollen goes onto the stigma of the same plant, while cross-pollination is the process where pollen falls onto other plant stigma. An example of pollination is by wind. Wattles produce a large amount of pollen which have the ability to be carried many kilometers by wind. Birds help to pollinate the Australian bottlebrush. As this plant has a bright red colour, it is of great attraction to birds. As the birds go to the flower for nectar, pollen is attached and is spread to all different plants. And the Australian orchid is pollinated by the wasp. The plant flowers during the wasp breeding season and lets off a scent similar to a female wasp. This attracts the wasp and pollen rubs off.